Hi everyone. Today we are going to discuss the journey of USA from being the breadbasket for the world to the Dust Bowl. Before we begin, please remember the difference between the terms white Americans and American Indians or Native Americans. American Indians were the original inhabitants of America. White Americans, on the other hand, were the people who moved from Europe largely to America for economic or commercial purposes, and over the time they became the permanent settlers of America. They settled down initially on the eastern coast of USA. As you can see in this map, till the 1780s, white Americans were confined to a small narrow strip of coastal land in east. Most of the landscape was not under the control of white Americans. Rather, you could see various Native American groups. Several of them were nomadic and lived by hunting, gathering, and fishing. Some of them were settled and cultivated corn, beans, tobacco, and pumpkin. But by the early 20th century, this landscape had transformed radically. White Americans had moved westward and established control up to the west coast. Over the years, these white Americans realized the need to expand their occupied area for more agricultural production and they needed more land. So, they moved further west, pushing the American Indians further. This led to the continuous conflict between white Americans and American Indians for a long period of time. This is all called the westward movement and the expansion of wheat cultivation in USA by the white Americans, which led to the emergence of America as the breadbasket of the world. Now let's look at it in a greater detail. America seemed to be a land of promise and opportunities. Its wilderness could be turned into cultivated fields. Forest timber could be cut for export. Animals hunted for skin. Mountains mined for gold and minerals. But this meant that the American Indians had to be cleared from the land. In the decades after 1800, the US government, which was controlled by the white Americans, committed itself to a policy of driving American Indians westward, first beyond the river Mississippi and then further west. Numerous wars were waged in which Indians were massacred and many of their villages burnt. The American Indians resisted, won many victories in wars, but were ultimately forced to sign treaties, give up their land, and move westward. As the Indians retreated, the settlers poured in. They came in successive waves. They slashed and burnt forests, pulled out the stumps, cleared the land for cultivation. From the late 19th century, there was a dramatic expansion of wheat production in the USA. The urban population in the USA was growing and the export market was becoming even bigger. As the demand increased, wheat prices rose, encouraging farmers to produce wheat. The spread of the railways made it even easy to transport the grain from the wheat growing regions to the eastern coast for export. By the early 20th century, the demand became even higher, and during the First World War, the world market boomed. Russian supplies of wheat were cut off, and the USA had to feed Europe. In fact, US President Woodrow Wilson called upon farmers to respond to the need of the time. He said, "Plant more wheat. Wheat will win the war." In 1910, about 45 million acres of land in the USA was under wheat cultivation. 9 years later, that is in 1919, the area had expanded to 74 million acres, an increase of about 65%. This dramatic expansion was made possible by new technology. When the new settlers entered the Midwestern prairie, the simple plows the farmers had used in the eastern coastal areas of the USA proved ineffective. The prairie was covered with a thick mat of grass with tough roots, so the simple tools and the implements could not work. By the early 20th century, farmers in the Great Plains were breaking the ground with tractors and disc plows, clearing vast stretches for wheat cultivation. Once the crop had ripened, it had to be harvested. And before the 1830s, the grain used to be harvested with a cradle or simple sickle. At harvest times, hundreds of men and women could be seen in the fields cutting the crop. But in 1831, Cyrus McCormick invented the first mechanical reaper. It needed less number of people for harvesting. For the big farmers of the Great Plains, these machines had many attractions. The prices of wheat were high and the demand seemed limitless. The new machines allowed these big farmers to rapidly clear large tracts, breaking up the soil, remove the grass, and prepare the ground for cultivation. The work could be done quickly and with a minimal number of hands. It all appeared so exciting, but only for the big farmers, not to the poor ones. Let us see how the machines brought misery for the poor farmers. Many farmers bought machines imagining that wheat prices would remain high and profits would flow in. But the boom of the late 19th century and early 20th centuries seemed to have come to an end by the mid 1920s. Production had expanded so rapidly during the war and post war years that there was a large surplus. Unsold stocks piled up, storehouses overflowed with grain, and vast amount of corn and wheat were turned into animal feed. Wheat prices fell and export markets collapsed. The poor farmers who took loans for their machines could not pay back their debt. Many of them deserted or left their farms and looked for a new job. But jobs were difficult to find. Mechanization had reduced the need for labor, and all these troubles led to the Great Agrarian Depression that ruined wheat farmers. And with this, we finally come to the Dust Bowl. As we had seen how desperately the new settlers in America converted the wild land with forest and vegetation into the large cultivable land over the years. They never realized that clearing forest in large numbers without considering the ecological balance would hit them hard after years. The early 1930s were years of persistent drought. The rains failed year after year and temperature increased. The expansion of wheat cultivation in the Great Plains created other problems. In the 1930s, terrifying dust storms began to blow over the southern plains. Black blizzards rolled in, very often 7,000 to 8,000 feet high, rising like monstrous waves of muddy water. They came day after day, year after year, throughout the 1930s. As the skies darkened and the dust swept in, people were blinded and choked. Cattle were suffocated to death. Dead bodies of the birds and animals were strewn all over the landscape. Tractors and machines that had plowed the earth and harvested the wheat in the 1920s were now clogged with dust, damaged beyond repair.